So again, you don't have a crystal ball. You don't have the magic 8 ball or anything like that. So based on, your understanding of the first administration and when we had Trump as president, and just also seeing a little bit about the priorities that have been identified and things that have not been identified, what do you foresee in the federal grant making space? And this could also be for the type of agreements that we might be seeing, certain agency, priorities. So something that you think might be beneficial for people to understand and wrap their heads around.
So I would say know your awards. And the reason that I start out with that is that um, there's going to be some changes coming down, I expect, that again will feel as fast as what we've experienced in the last couple of weeks. So if you know your awards, then you're able to do that assessment of risk much faster because you're aware of it. If they're all in a file cabinet in paper form, that makes it much more difficult. So to the extent you can have things searchable so you're ready to go with whatever the next priority is. And the other thing I would say, just again from this perspective of having been through 5 different administrations, is I would say when new administrations lay out their spending priorities, until they're proven wrong, I'm going to believe them. So really the work of assessing risk could have started shortly after the election in November, if we believed that it would happen. Now, I don't think anybody believed how fast it would happen, but the spending priorities are signaled out ahead of inauguration. And when President Biden took office, he also had a lot of spending priorities. So we were aware of those. They moved out at a slower pace, but he definitely had different spending priorities as well that we adapted to. And so this is what we're in, is the world of adaptation. So I think if I look at, the pieces of the agenda that have been laid out and talked about, certainly domestic spending is a key one. Infrastructure is going to be a key one. And security has been a key one. So I think those are 3 simple themes that we are seeing repeated over and over again. And what's going to be the fallout from that? Well, I'm not saying this won't change, but I think you're going to see um, I'm not hearing lots of cries for a diminishment in spending in a way. So I think it's a reprioritization. I can remember back in 2010, my mom called me because she read somewhere that all grants were going away. And I don't know if she was afraid I was going to move home or something, but that didn't happen. Right. It actually, grants have continued to go up. So it's what I see mostly as a reprioritization. Maybe at some point in time it will be an actual cut, but it's a prioritization of spending. So where's the risk? To me, the biggest risk, and I think this is why they started with USAID, is foreign spending. And I'm not getting into, the need for it or whatever. I'm just saying this was a priority. And so I'm not surprised that that's where the first cuts are coming. I would also expect for the organizations that have been doing a lot of support of immigrants, that that's going to be another area where you're going to see funding reprioritization. And the one that we all know and we're all searching through our stuff for right now is the DEI initiatives. So those are just 3 simple ones that, boy, I mean, if I had anything related to that, I would be searching to see what my risk is. And then secondly, I would be trying to have a good system as these things get rolled out to start looking at other things that have been spoken of in the national priority for this administration.
Yeah, and I think it's also important. You mentioned this about the reprioritization. So I think that, when we talked before about how they're coming in and making those sweeping changes, I mean, there's an appetite for some things and not others. A couple of things that I brought up as well is that there's still going to be funding for direct service programs. There just might be different eligibility criteria based on the executive orders that have been issued. And there also going to be different funding opportunity announcements that might have more restrictive or specific criteria for how they're going to award those different entities that go after those funds. So I think there's going to be a couple things that with existing awards and new awards that we can sort of look at, but I think that the idea that all federal funding is going away is just a fallacy because honestly, couldn't really function. I
Right.
mean, the US just couldn't function. So I think it's just important to understand that. And I'm not trying to diminish the fear and the concern that people have. It's just trying to level set, expectations.